Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight I'd like to talk about the death of Queen Elizabeth. And I want to speak about it in a sense to bring Muslims and people of color to their sense. I see some Muslims um, mourning about mourning about the death of Queen Elizabeth, basically. And I see some people of color mourning Queen Elizabeth's death. And it makes me ask the question, did you flunk history? Did you really flunk history? The British Empire has been a leech, blood sucker, oppressor, and killers of people of color and also some white Europeans. For me, on my end, for being African American, then we understand the British usher in the slave trade. All right, the British usher in the Atlantic slave trade or the transatlantic slave trade. And they were the dominant in the slave trade, the African slave trade of Africans, the British. Um, if you're black, I wouldn't be mourning and sad that Queen Elizabeth died, this wretched monarchy of the British Empire that has enslaved people, stole resources, killed people. We don't forget about the British Empire, what it did to the Chinese in the Opium Wars, forcing the Chinese to buy opium and use drugs. I mean, I know nothing good about the British Empire as a person of color. Well, look at the British Empire, what it did to India. I don't see nothing good. When I look at the British Empire, what it did to Africa, Nigeria, it's nothing good. When I look at the British Empire in South Africa, usher in the apartheid, I don't see nothing good about the British Empire. So I don't understand how people of color is mourning. I'm sorry, mourning about the death of Queen Elizabeth. You know, there's a picture of the Queen when she was a girl. I don't want to get flagged because I've already flagged on Facebook. I can't post any pictures. I mean, I can't post anything. I'm on a 6-day restriction on Facebook because I post the picture of Queen Elizabeth um, doing the Hitler signature when she's a little girl. And many people don't know that the British Empire or the Queen Elizabeth's family had some ties and connection with Hitler, despite Hitler bombing Britain in World War II. But the Queen's family had a family member who was actually part of the Nazis. And there's pictures of her. I think it's one of her second or third cousins. And there's pictures of her when she's a little girl with her family doing this. Hell, Hitler. I don't see how a person of color is mourning about the death of Queen Elizabeth. I don't see how Muslims. I have been seeing a lot of Muslims on Facebook saying rest in peace to Queen Elizabeth. I'm like, you're Muslim? You don't know that the British Empire was the main country that destroyed the Islamic Caliphate. The British Empire destroyed the Islamic empire, the Caliph of Islam. When you read hadith about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he talks about Khulafa ar-Rashidin, ومن عيش منكم سيرى اختلاف كثيرا فعليكم بسنتي. To the end of the hadith, he talks about the Rashidin, the Khulafa, the right guided Khalifa, or Khalifas of Islam, the Khalifa of Islam. The British Empire destroyed that. I don't know how a Muslim is mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth. I mean, you guys must have really flunked history. You guys must have really flunked history. But as some will say, some Muslims are just sellouts, unfortunately. Some Muslims, we're just sellouts. This is just the hard truth. It's going to be hard for some of us to understand that. But some of us Muslims are sellouts. I don't understand how a Muslim is celebrating. I mean, it's mourning and sad. Your oppressor. You're sad that your oppressor died? This is how a lot of the people you guys look like. I see people just like this crying. Muslims, people of color, black and brown people. I don't know how the US government and the news in America is talking about Queen Elizabeth and giving her all this coverage when America fought a war against Britain to get its independence. Why white America or the government or the media is pushing this all in the media and making a big fuss? Do you want Britain to control America again or something? Or is that white privilege, that white monarchy, monarchy privileged or heritage that you're still thinking about? I don't see how a person of color, black, brown, even white, if you Irish, you shouldn't be sad that Queen Elizabeth died. I don't understand how people of color, especially Muslims, you know that when the British, we're talking about Muslims, do you know that when the British ruled India, that British made a sect in Islam? I learned that in high school. I wasn't even Muslim back then. Do you know that the British in India, when the colonial Britain was ruling over India, that they made a sect in Islam that would be more submissive to the British Empire, that wouldn't fight them. So the British made a sect in Islam, so it wouldn't fight against their rule. So the Muslims wouldn't fight against their rule. Do you even know that even historically the British in India promoted the Hindus to fight against Muslims? And the British told the Hindus that the Muslims in India don't belong in India. These are historical facts. Historical facts. Divide and conquer. I don't understand how a person of color is sad that the Queen is dead. You should be rejoicing. If you're Muslim, I don't see how a Muslim is sad. I see sisters told my rest in peace. Queen Elizabeth, me rest in peace. She's a kuffar. She didn't die in Islam. She didn't die on Tawheed. She wasn't a Muslim. So why are you saying all of this? And dua and this, are you Jahil of Islam? You're ignorant? These are one of the tyrants. These are one of the main fighters and oppressors of the religion of Islam. The British Empire. The British Empire destroyed the Caliphate of Islam and divided the Muslim countries into what we see today. Made borders, invented the visas and borders. Only a Muslim is stupid would be sad and saying rest in peace. Only a Muslim who is ignorant of his religion and ignorant of his history. I don't know how any black person is mourning. If you from the African diaspora, you black, you African American, you black Caribbean, you're black from the UK, Afro Canadian, then you got into your ancestors. Our ancestors got into these countries from the slave trade of the British. I don't know how you mourning. Look like this picture, this guy in this picture. A lot of us like this guy in this picture, man. The house Negro. The real word we call for it, the house nigger. A lot of us, this is a lot of us right here. And when I see Muslims, you must be really ignorant of Islam. It shows how deep a lot of the Muslim, the layman Muslim in the West, and unfortunately some in the Muslim country, how ignorant they are about history. One of the main countries that were known for fighting the Muslim and destroying Islam is the British Empire. You can't say it's America. America is something new. America is a new country. Before America exists, it was the British who demolished a lot of the Muslim countries and divided them and destroyed them. America learned from the British. People forget that the British are the one who started the apartheid in South Africa. And don't talk about, we don't want to forget about the British diaspora who went to other countries spreading the same havoc. That's Australia. 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 Some of us, we're not really ready for some of this type of stuff, man. You know, a lot of us, we're not ready to hear this stuff. It shows that people really don't have a good understanding of history. You know that even the British had some type of boycotts. I forgot to mention the British colonized Bangladesh. Matter of fact, it's called India, the 1940 famine, right? As the Britain campaigns in the Mediterranean during the Second World War heated up in 1943. Disaster loomed in British India and Bengal. Famine was rife as Winston Churchill diverted India-grown foods to British troops in the Mediterranean, which caused the death of approximately 4 million Bengals. 4 million. Ain't nobody from India or Pakistan or Bangladesh should be mourning for the death of Queen Elizabeth. 4 million Bengals died. 4 million from the British evil doing. 4 million. Don't forget about British crimes in Nigeria. I don't want to forget about that. Oh, I don't want to forget about that. Specifically Nigeria. That's why in Nigeria the government has just passed the law, man. No non-Nigerians could be in ads, models, or voice actors. Stole out of Africa. Stole their resources in other nations. I can't see it personally how any Muslim person of color is mourning. Hey, I'm out. If you like anything that was said today, please click like and share. Definitely help the channel grow. You can look in the description. We have a GoFund page going. Don't forget us. I haven't been on here a lot lately. That's due to, alhamdulillah, I've been doing some schoolwork. So I post when I get a chance. But I just can't help but today to see about Muslims mourning. People of color mourning who were victimized by the British Empire. Mourning. We still got a lot of these in our community. And unfortunately, they're not going nowhere anytime soon.